know, there are different complexities, different challenges, and we think it's going to get, well, we want it to get easier, but there are so many complexities at play, and people are bringing a different type of baggage into relationships.
Part of the culture, but we ain't part of the culture. Still making it rain, but a little words like aim soaking. Them man there, some them man there, we say we don't know them. Always chatting about Lengo, roll with the stick and have to outgrow them. You see this life, only get one, don't get twice. Put a value with treating right, find purpose, meaning, fight. That's destiny calling. Ring, 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 we accept it, you warning.
Hello. It's your boy Mickey again, and we're here with another episode of Faith to Finding Love. Today's topic is the relevance of the family in today's society. I'm here with a gem, a total gem. I have friends that look up to this individual. I have friends that she has mentored. And I've heard nothing but good stuff, and we just had to have her on the podcast to speak her mind, speak her thoughts, talk about some of her ideas, and ask some questions, put some questions to her. Please welcome with me, Miss Claudine Reid MBE.
Thank you very much.
Oh man! So as I said in my little intro, that I have friends that want to be you. Like, you mentor a couple of my friends. You've been referred to as a boss lady or bossy, or, you know, a woman of standard, a woman of standing. And it's very telling in the way in which you carry yourself, portray yourself, and from the little which we see online of you. So tell us how a Claudine Reid came about.
First of all, let me say thank you for having me on the show.
It's a pleasure.
Much appreciated. How did Claudine Reid come about?
Big question, I know.
Yeah, it's a hard question. You know, I think life is full of mountains and valleys, and what you get to see is a filter of the mountain. Mm-hmm. Nobody puts valley experiences on social media anywhere. No. But I did write about it in my book, The Balancing Act.
Oh, okay.
And I got to where I am because of the challenges, because I believe it's the challenges that make you strong. It's the challenges that build your resilience. It's the challenges that build the muscle of your emotional and mental strength. Yeah. So you ask, how did I get to those things? Because, you know, life wasn't always plain sailing. You had to make some key decisions, and in those decisions you realise, actually, I don't want this to happen again, so what do I need to do to avoid this? Or this is the framework or how I want my family to be. What lessons do I have to take from history or from other family members or from life experiences to make sure that I can create something that I'm happy with? It doesn't always go according to plan, but that's what life is, right? You learn from it, you dust yourself off, you reapply your mascara, ladies, and then you go again.
Awesome. Okay, who is Claudine Reid?
Who am I? So I wear many hats. I'm an entrepreneur, a businesswoman, advisor, author, mentor, governor, boss, you said. But the most important thing that I am, two most important hats that I wear, I'm a wife and a mother, and I take those roles very, very seriously. They are my top priority, as well as all the other things that I do, but wife and a mother.
Wife and a mother. And tell us a little bit about your book, The Balancing Act.
My book, The Balancing Act, I wrote... launched last year, my birthday. And it's a culmination, if you like, of over 27 years worth of observations and experiences. You know, some of the conversations that I have with my colleagues about balance. Is there such a thing? Can you be balanced? There are so many competing priorities in life. Can you have balance? And it's the thing that we strive for. I don't know if we ever really attain to it, but the things that I found in the course of writing that book was around the key components of life: fitness, faith, family, finance. And how do you balance those things as you progress through life? And what I've observed was that at different stages, those different components of life have different priorities. So that's really what I'm writing about. How do you balance those priorities? How do you determine what is a priority? And you kind of work that out as you navigate life.
As you navigate life. Okay. Okay. So some questions to put to you is, how has the concepts and the structure of the family evolved over the years? And what are some of the key factors driving these changes, would you say?
Gosh, we are in 2023, and when I think about family from as far back as I can remember, I have to start with my grandparents and the role model that they demonstrated for me to see. So my paternal grandmother, she was just formidable. She came here from the Caribbean with a single salary to raise my dad and his 3 brothers. She purchased a house with a single salary. And okay, I know house prices back then was very, very different, but that's what I saw. I saw this formidable woman just making life work, and she always had the best of everything. Like every half term, my grandma was going on holiday. But at the time, I'm a child. I don't understand that she's worked hard for her money. I don't understand that she's made investments. I don't understand this until I'm at the age that I am now and realise that's what she was doing. Oh my gosh. And then on my maternal grandparents, they were a unit. They were a strong family unit. They had 11 children, including my mum. Like my cousins were there every weekend. Like that's where we all went. So that's my concept of family. If there was a problem, we solved this together. Nobody was on their own. There were challenges in the family. When there were challenges, I saw everybody come together. We need to sort this out. This is our family. My granddad placed a very heavy resilience on community, on unity, on support. And I don't want to make it sound like it's rose tinted, but through the lens of a young person growing up, that was everything to me. That was my model. If I wanted to have a family, there was a traditional family unit, a mum and a dad and the children who listened to their parents, right? Really great principles. So growing up, that's what I saw. That's what I wanted to emulate in my own household, because I saw that it worked. I saw that whenever there were challenges, there were 2 people to work through the challenges. And they made it work. As life progresses, things don't always go like how you want them to go. Unfortunately, my mum's relationship broke down, and I saw how she struggled. And what happened? Why does this happen? I think life becomes more complex. There are different complexities, different challenges, and we think it's going to get, we want it to get easier, but there are so many complexities at play, and people are bringing a different type of baggage into relationships, and they're not always willing to work through them. So you come with your own respective traumas and challenges into a family unit, and some people, men in particular, sorry guys who are listening, they're good at articulating anger, but they're not good at articulating love. And so sometimes that comes out in a way that is not helpful in a relationship setting. So when I think back to how I saw my grandparents navigate this space, it was through conversation. It was through, I saw this as a child. It was through conversation. If there was anything else happening in that space, I didn't see that. What I saw was a conversation between my grandparents, and hey, everything worked out okay. Maybe if I spoke to my aunts and uncles, they might give me a different perspective, but that's what I saw. Fast forward to the next generation, I didn't see that. What I saw was people not being able to manage their emotions, and it comes out in maybe violence. Or it comes out in abuse of some sort. So the role of the family has evolved, and I think people are less tolerant. They've got more other competing priorities. There's this drive for more, and whilst I don't think there's anything wrong with that drive for more, but sometimes it comes at a price.
Yeah.
And sometimes that price causes an imbalance in the way how that's lived out. So that price could be your family.
Yeah.
That price could be an extramarital relationship. That price could be, I'm spending, 18 hours at work because I don't like my house, or do you know what I mean? That there are so many priorities. And so when it comes to my family, I saw the best and the worst, and I made a decision that I want to try and emulate or recreate the best in the way that I could. It comes at a price. You have to make sacrifices.
There's sacrifices, yeah.
But how much are you willing to pay for that?
The role of a woman in the... Sorry. I put a bit too much bass in that. Does a woman have to be superwoman in these new family units that we're now seeing?
Well, we got to define superwoman. What does that mean?
She has to be multi-purposeful. She has to not just be the provider. She has to be the father at times. She has to be the nurturer at times. There's a lot happening now because, so we were speaking with Pat Reed, your husband, not too long ago. And we were talking about the function of a man in modern day society and in the family unit, and how that's missing. The impact of a man in the family unit on their children, mainly the sons. And he was talking about his experience and seeing his father, and how that was the template for the kind of man he became, kind of thing. A woman now has to pick up that slack because some men don't step into that role. And the way I see it is that women have to become super women.
All right.
And what are your thoughts on that?
It's a challenging one, right? You've explained the way how society has evolved, and in some family units, one person, generally the woman, takes on more responsibility than the man, generally because he's absent for whatever reason. She's become superwoman because of the circumstance, not necessarily by choice. And one of the challenging things about that is that we have lone parents, single mothers in some instances, doing an incredible job. I've come from a single parent household. My mum has done an amazing job, but she couldn't replace my dad.
No.
There are some things that she couldn't teach me. There are some things in that household that I needed to see a man do. I needed to hear how he responds. I needed to see that. And same for my brother. I mean, I don't want to speak on his behalf, but from my perspective, that's what I saw. I mean, I do, I spoke about this earlier on. I have a lot of mentoring clients that I work with, and I remember one day speaking to one of my clients, and she was just beside herself. She was crying. I said, what's the matter? Oh my gosh, I'm a bad mum. I'm like, why are you a bad mum? She said, because I was teaching my son to go to the toilet. And she's saying this through her tears. I'm mimicking her tears. She said, I was teaching my son to go I was potty training my child, and her older child, who was 8 years old, bust into the bathroom and said to her, look what you're doing. You're not even teaching him right. That's not how men go to toilet. So she came to see me. We were doing an event, and so she comes to the event after being told by her 8-year-old son that she's not a good mum because she put her 2-year-old boy to sit on the toilet. And her 8-year-old is saying to her, that's not how we go to the toilet. But she's doing what she knows to be right. She's doing the best that she can. And so if you want to label that super, then yes, they are super by reason of the circumstance that they're in. They're not going to drop the ball. It's easy for a guy to walk away, but has he really walked away? What he's walked away from is the woman, not the child. And sometimes women use that as a bat, or as a weapon. That's the word I'm looking for. As a weapon, they weaponize their children, which you know, I think a certain type of woman does that. You know, and I'm not talking about abusive situations. I'm not referring to men who are abusive to the child and the mum. I'm talking about women who are not able to move past. He loves the child, but not me. Therefore, let me weaponize my child. So if you want to call that super, she's wearing a multiple hats because she's got to make life work.
She's just got to make it happen. So I too was raised by a single mother, and there's one thing that I've always said to myself is that on Father's Day, I remember giving my mum a gift, and I said, "Mum, Happy Father's Day." It was a beautiful moment, but it was the worst thing I could do because my dad should have been there.
Yeah.
And I do know the impact of not having a male role model around, kind of thing. Talk about.
But hold on, can I just interject on
ahead.
that point? And I understand the sentiments of what you've done, and you know, that's right for you and the relationship that you have with your mum. But I, as a woman, would never celebrate another woman on Father's Day. It just doesn't sit well with me personally. To others, 100%, if that's what they do. Because I think it's taken away from the role that a man plays in the life of his child on Father's Day. 100%, I'm celebrating my mum. Whatever she needs, I'm thanking her for everything that she's done, for being there, for the discipline. Ouch. For the discipline, let me say that again. But she couldn't take the role of my dad.
Yeah, she couldn't.
And so I'm not going to celebrate her on Father's Day. I'm going to give her everything and more on Mother's Day, and
her birthday,
everything,
every other day,
on all of those. But I understand where it's coming from, but I don't think it does justice to the fathers who are playing a role, or it almost feels like we are saying to our children, you don't need your dad. Yes, you do.
You do.
100% you do. So celebrating your mum on that day indirectly says you don't need your dad. I can't reconcile that just yet. But anyway, I just wanted to pick that up.
I appreciate that. Please feel free to do more of that. Okay, so what are some of the unique challenges modern families face, and how can they adapt to thrive in today's fast-paced and ever-changing society?
Oh, challenges. How much time have we got?
Not too much.
Financial challenges, social media, societal pressures, children, fertility, growing apart from each other, not enough time. You want to spend time together, but you've got to go to work. You've got financial obligations. You want to provide for your children in the best way that you can. That requires time, money, effort, and we don't have that in abundance. And we're competing always with those priorities. We're competing always with those things. How do we make this work? How do we balance the little that we have? It's a lot. And the second half of the question?
Second half of the question was, how can we adapt to thrive in today's fast-paced, ever-changing society?
How can we adapt? I think flexibility is key to progress and protecting your time. So not to negate all of the things that we have to do. I go back to my book, The Balancing Act. We are always doing things, but there are, when I say doing things, you're working, you're running your business, you're looking after children, you're looking after parents in some instances, you're trying to carve out your own identity and your own sense of fulfillment of what it is that you want to contribute into the world. But one of the things that I think that will help us to adapt is to have a clear goal of what it is that we want to achieve and carve out time to cultivate that goal. That takes intentionality. That takes discipline. If I want for my family to arrive at a certain place, I want family goals. I want there to be good communication. I want there to be a loving, harmonious relationship in my home that's filled with unity. That doesn't just happen at a flip of a switch. It doesn't just happen just because you said it. You have to carve out time. You have to
make it happen.
Make it happen, right? Kids, husbands, family. This is what's going to happen on this day and time. No devices. Let me tell you, when we used to go out this is pre-COVID, I'd take everybody's phone away. Like, we're
Okay.
going for a family meal. My kids are like, yeah, but what if our friends call? What if our friends call us? You know, this isn't right. And for the first 5 minutes, like, everyone was
Raging. Yeah.
arms folded, mouth pushed, lips pushed out, like nobody wants to talk. But when I say we have to be intentional, I want to talk to you. I want to find out about your day. I want you to look in my eyes. I want to look into your soul. I want to see what's going on in your head, in your emotions. You're my child. The most of your time is spent in your phone. I won't know you unless we talk. That's family. Now I have to also ensure that happens with me and my husband. It's not going to happen by magic. Sometimes he'll take the lead if things are like growing apart. He'll take the lead. Right, the kids are at your mum, let's go. Like, oh my god, what do you mean the kids are at my mum? Where are we going? What are you doing? When do we have to pick them up? Like, don't worry about any of that. I know how to look after my children. Let's go. Then we go off for this weekend. Or he'll say something like, pack a bag. Oh my god, where are we going? Just pack for 2 days. You can't tell me just to pack for 2 days. But my point is, you have to be intentional, right? You have to create. And this is not about money. If you have nothing, go for a walk around the block. Wrap up warm, put on a hat, scarf, coat and gloves for the podcasters, for the listeners who are in the UK. If you're in the Caribbean, put on your shorts, a vest and your sliders. And walk down the road and back. Talk to each other. Find out about your day. What are you working on? What's interesting to you now? Because I tell my husband all the time, I'm not the same person you married 27 years ago. And if you don't talk to me, you won't know who I am.
You won't know
and that's how couples grow apart. So you have to be intentional. And if I want what I perceived my grandparents had, or what I perceived other family units have, then I've got to be intentional about that. And that takes hard work, because there's a movie that I want to watch, or I want to go out with my girlfriends, or I'm studying, or my kids need me, or I'm tired. How am I prioritizing all of those things over the one relationship that means the most to me? I've got to be intentional about
You got to be focused, intentional about that. So you've just come back from Tennessee.
Louisiana.
Yes.
Louisiana. But I'm sure it's a neighbouring state. I don't know American geography, but
I guess. What was you doing over there?
Whoa, what was I doing? Before I answer that question, I've kind of got to go back.
Okay.
So, networking is such a powerful tool. I was at an event hosted by the Department of Trade, Department of Business and Trade in the UK. And I just met some good people, and we were talking, and one of them happened to be the the ministerial lead for international trade in the US. We were talking, she said, oh, we've got an event on such and such a day, do you want to come? I said, yeah, sure, no problem. I went to the event, and in that space, I met more people, but these were delegates. So I got my invitation from this woman who I met in Birmingham, but the other delegates got their invitation from the White House. The White House said to them, you need to go to London to this event on such and such a time. So I'm speaking to these people, disappear. I'm also hosting a panel, go and do my panel piece. The guy comes, when I come back, the guy said, I don't know you, an American accent, oh my God, I didn't know you were hosting a panel. But we just started talking, and we exchanged ideas. He shared a concept of the Entrepreneurs Exchange, where we bring entrepreneurs from our respective countries, the UK and the US, go to each other's countries, explore opportunities, ideas, set up in their country, because that's another way how entrepreneurs can grow their business. They are so committed to the idea that they came to the UK twice to explore opportunities, to speak to the US ambassador and the UK ambassador to make sure that we got all the trade agreements correct. They've been here twice. That's a demonstration of commitment. Now they're saying to me, right, Claudine, when are you coming to America? I'm like, okay, let me see. Because now this is serious. They sent me the itinerary. Oh my gosh. I'm speaking to bankers. I'm speaking to head of educational institutions. I'm speaking at the Louisiana Chamber of Commerce dinner. I'm going to NASA.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Wow.
So you asked what was I doing? I couldn't just say all of that without giving you the background, the backstory. So literally, over the last week, I mean, it was intense every single day, but it was so enjoyable to see how they do business in the US. I mean, everything is 5 times bigger, but there are plenty of opportunities. And because, so I'm in Louisiana, Baton Rouge is an area of deprivation.
Yeah.
But there are opportunities in deprivation, right? So there's opportunities for entrepreneurs to grow their businesses. There's opportunities for entrepreneurs to scale their businesses. So we're looking specifically for tech-based or tech-enabled businesses that we can bring to Louisiana. Yeah. They've got an office, they've got access to opportunities. You register your business in Louisiana, and whatever US citizens can draw down in terms of funding from the government, if your business is registered there, you have the same opportunities too. Awesome. So I met a guy who's already done this. His business is based in Luton. He's gone to Baton Rouge. He provides Wi-Fi to rural communities. He's already connected with a community college, and the most important thing out of all of this is job creation, social mobility, community and generational wealth, all of the things that add resilience and have the voice of government as it relates to your business. If your business is park the money piece just for a moment, but if your business is creating jobs, you are contributing to the economy, you're reducing crime by default. People fall into crime. Some people are just a bad mind, but other people fall into crime because they have no opportunities. They've got no jobs, and so they do it by default of their circumstance, not because it's the first choice. For some people are just bad, but there are others who choose this pathway because there's no other thing to do. If entrepreneurs are able to provide jobs for them, it takes that away. Now you're going to feel safe to walk down the street. Your area is going to be nicer and cleaner because people are investing and they are proud of where they live. So I was in Louisiana having an excellent, fantastic experience of what it would be like as an entrepreneur to land here, surrounded by other entrepreneurs. Let me tell you this. I was on the panel. One of the guys talking about his business. He does tech stuff, making his clients are NASA and the US Air Force.
Sounds wild.
And then they said, can you tell us about the 6.5 million that you've won? And we're like, what? 6.5? And he said, oh yeah, okay. Not that it was nothing, but these are massive opportunities that you are able to leverage. Big numbers.
So tell us about PJ's.
PJ's Community Services, it's where I've spent my life. It's where I grew up. I went there as this 21-year-old student on a 1-year work experience. That's where Pat nabbed you, isn't it? Wow. I
mean, that's a story. That's where he collected you.
For 1 year.
Kept you hostage, apparently.
12 months I was on a work I had just come back from studying in Holland. I remember saying to my friend, oh my God, as part of my degree, I need to do a 1-year work placement. And because I was in Europe, I didn't get the opportunity to look for a job. I said to him, find me a job. He said, don't worry, my brother's just started a business. Go work for my brother. I said, oh, great. Worked for his brother. Coming up to the end of the time, the brother says to me, you are so amazing, I don't want you to leave, will you marry me? I'm like, oh my God, I've got a job and a husband in the same package.
See God.
See God. And so I stayed, I think, because of Patrick. As I progressed through my life in PJ's, I stayed because of what I became in the process.
Ooh.
After about 2 years, I had this identity crisis. Like, I'm only here because of you. I'm leaving. I want to become a teacher. I left, went to work in the education system, had a brilliant time. I wanted to be a teacher. And I think I was there 1 year to the day. I'm not used... Here's the other thing. I'm the eldest of my siblings. I'm not used to people saying no as it relates to my personal development. Say no to your own stuff, but not to me as it relates to my personal development. And I remember going to the head teacher at the time and asking him if I could reduce my days so I could go and study, so I could get my teaching qualification. And he said no. In my head, I'm like, no to my personal development, then this isn't the environment for me. And I remember leaving. I mean, I left because I had a business to go back to. But when I went back to my business, I knew in that moment I was a different person. The education system taught me confidence. It taught me resilience. I was working with 9 boys who were on the verge of exclusion. And if they didn't stay with me, they would have been excluded. I have no way of relating to these guys. I remember going to speak to my younger brothers, like telling them, these guys are 13. What am I supposed to say to them? They said to me, talk to them about WWF, Worldwide Wrestling
Yeah,
Federation.
yeah.
These are the good characters and these are the rubbish characters. And if
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
good,
yeah,
say
yeah.
to them that they are like this. And if
Relate
they
to
are
them,
rubbish,
yeah.
say to them like this. You will score points. Listen, on that day that I went back into school, my points went off the scale. Those
I can
boys
imagine.
loved me. It taught me confidence. It taught me everything that I needed to know. But I also realised that wasn't the place that I should stay, especially when the head teacher told me that I couldn't go and progress myself.
Yeah.
So I left and went back to PJ's. In that moment, I found myself. I found my voice. I found the pathway that I was creating. So we provide care services to vulnerable adults and children, but in that space, I've been able to leverage a world of opportunities. I've been headhunted to be a governor of a school, 2 schools. In fact, the schools are failing. I'm like, well, you got who wants to be a governor of a failing school? But I was speaking to Patrick about this, and he said, look, the only way is up. And furthermore, he actually said to me, you and Jesus can work this out. I'm like, well, you're not on the governing body, so you can't come to the governing body meetings. But it was his confidence in my ability. It was his knowledge that actually you're doubting yourself, and even if you are doubting yourself, I'll help you.
Yeah.
And so my business has given me the platform to operate in different sectors. Education, so being governor of a school, college. I was advisor to the Secretary of State. Like, how on earth
Do you become an advisor?
did I get there?
Yeah.
But all of this is the platform of the business, because that's what they're calling me for. I have these years of experience, and I'm able to frame it in a way that supports other organisations, government, education, media, trustees of organisations. So you ask about the business, but the business has given me the platform, the knowledge, the access, and of course the money, to do this.
And was it from PJs to Lloyds Bank? When did that come in?
So during the pandemic, I'm at home in recovery mode. I think it's important to say I was in recovery mode. I wasn't advertising myself. I had just had major surgery. Unfortunately, in 2019, I had a breast cancer diagnosis. So thankfully, thank God, everything's going in the right direction. But I was in recovery mode. I wasn't on social media, hey everybody, I'm available for work. And Lloyds Bank told me they looked at my LinkedIn page. I was like, you did what? But had an interview, got the role to chair the advisory committee for black entrepreneurs across the UK. It is such an awesome responsibility and an awesome privilege to be able to speak into an organisation the magnitude of Lloyds. So this is, let me just say this. This is not Lloyds Bank. This is Lloyds Banking Group. It's the privilege to speak into their ESG frameworks, so that's environmental, social and governance frameworks. It's the opportunity to speak into the vision that they have to support black entrepreneurs across the UK. Lots of people have said to me, Claudine, is this a tick box exercise? Claudine, do they really mean this? What I can say, over the last 3 years, I've been the chair of a multi-year plan. They have invested heavily in entrepreneurs. They've invested heavily in the infrastructure of the program. They have seen the results that come with investment. We've engaged with over 4,000 entrepreneurs. That engagement looks like 17,000 hours worth of output. The businesses that are coming to the table, the businesses that are growing. One of the really exciting projects that I can't wait to be released next year. I got the opportunity to judge the Black in Business initiative. It was a partnership between Lloyds Bank and Channel 4. They are both wanting to work with the black community. We put out an advert. 5 entrepreneurs will win £100,000 worth of TV advertising. We were expecting roughly about 400 or 500 people. We had over 1,000 applicants. Thankfully, I only had to judge the final 10 with the other panelists. But initiatives like that do absolutely incredible things for the community. So as I'm sitting there listening to the final 10, seeing their confidence, seeing their business plans, asking them questions that they are actually able to respond to, the access that they're going to have just from having £100,000 worth of TV advert, what's that going to do for your business? Back to my initial point, job creation, social mobility, community and generational wealth. Of course, money follows mission, but that's a natural byproduct of the people who you serve. So the whole Lloyds initiative initiative has been really incredibly phenomenal, just to see the impact that's happening. So back to the Louisiana piece, what I'm really hoping is that this is really for entrepreneurs who are at a different level. So they're not startups, they are people who've got a track record, they've got a minimum of 3 years worth of accounts, they are already trading at $500,000. Let's go international and see what opportunities we can collect. So we talk about Lloyds. That's where that's come from.
Okay. Again, so let's finish off on your book. How did we get to the book? What was the idea behind it? What was you trying to achieve with the book? What triggered the book?
What triggered the book? So since 2019, after I had a life-altering cancer diagnosis, I decided, there was a moment when I was sitting with the medical team when I wasn't sure like what the responses were going to be. So you feel a lump and your whole world just descends into chaos. I've not spoken to anyone at this time, apart from Patrick and my mum, and now I'm waiting for the next set of appointments. The NHS have this fantastic program called 2WW. It's a 2-week wait where you will get a response within 2 weeks. But in that 2-week period, your whole world is just descending into, oh my God.
Flipped.
And in that same time, my dad had just passed away of pancreatic cancer. And I had assigned myself, which I later changed, to the same hospital as him. So the same appointments that my dad was going to and seeing the same medical staff, I'm seeing them too. I'm sitting in the same room, and in my head I'm like, oh my God, I just shouldn't be here. And because it didn't work out well for my dad, in my head, in that 2-week period, I'm like, oh my God, this is it. I need to go see my solicitor, I need to sort out my will, I need to make sure my kids are all right, I need to make sure my staff are okay, I need to make, oh my God, I need to find a wife for my husband.
A whole wife for your husband? Jeez.
Because in that moment, like, I'm not rational. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to make it. I haven't seen the medical staff at this point, but there's just 101 thoughts swirling through your head. And so this is 2019. Thankfully, after the first appointment, they say to me, okay, this is treatable. This is what we're going to do. This is what's going to be. You're going to have a mastectomy. This is what the recovery period is going to be. I'm like, oh, okay. Thank you, Jesus. Okay, Claudine, slow down those thoughts. But the book came from that moment. I decided that every birthday from 2019, I was going to celebrate and do something that I've not done before, something that takes me out of my comfort zone, and just live life differently. So the book was a culmination of that experience of thinking, oh my gosh, I'm almost at the end. I wasn't, clearly. But what were my thoughts doing, and do I feel that I have lived the best life, my life, and what do I need to do to change that? So the book is about the balancing act. It's about fitness, faith, family, finance, fun, fulfillment, your friends, and all of the decisions that you need to make in order to have balance, and how you prioritize those things. So I launched the book last year on my birthday. The year before, I did a music video. I just wanted to sing. Like I just wanted to sing. I remember my brother.
I'm going to ask you where we can find it.
Oh, it's on YouTube. I'm not hiding it anymore. I'm really not. I mean, I almost backed out. My brother. Let me just put this in there. My brother does BVs for Stormzy. He does. He's on tour with the Drifters. He's absolutely incredible. So of course I went to him to ask him for help. Like he's the guy to help me. He knows world-class musicians, and they'd done all the tracks for me. And now all I had to do was sing and do the video. I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to do this anymore. But I'm starting to get cold feet. It's like, I have called the best people that I know. Even if you don't want to do this, you are going to do this.
Good.
So there's a significant amount of fear and trepidation, but I stepped out and I did this music video. I hosted a lunch for, oh my gosh, about 45 women. During the pandemic, I hosted the Navigating Life anthology. We wrote 3 best-selling, #1 Amazon best-selling books about health, grief, loss, relationships, mindset, identity, emotional roller coasters, motherhood and change, all of those things. So now, fast forward to last year, the launch of my book, The Balancing Act. That was it.
And where can they find The Balancing Act?
It's on Amazon. We've got a PDF, we've got a hardback and a paperback.
And your final thoughts regarding, in regards to what initiatives you are currently engaged in and how the audience can find you on social media.
They can find me on social media. I'm on LinkedIn and Instagram and Facebook. My name, Claudine Reid. And final...
MBE at the end of
yes, sorry, Claudine Reid MBE, yes. My final thoughts, look, life is for living, right? You've only got one opportunity, and the more I progress in age, notice what I said there, I'm not getting older, the more I progress in age, the more people who I speak to, they want to feel fulfilled. Life is for living. Do those things that make you happy. Do those things that make you fulfilled. Do those things that contribute to your ability to increase your influence, to increase your impact, and to increase your income. It doesn't all happen in a day. It's taken me 27 years to arrive at this place, and there is still a whole road to go. There are so many ideas and concepts and projects that I'm currently working on, and I'm really excited about the future. I want your audience to be excited about their own future, but in order for that excitement to be, you got to be around the right people. You got to cultivate the right types of friendship groups. You've got to cultivate the right types of conversations that take you in the right direction. Otherwise, you'll be in a downward spiral and think, oh my God, how do I get out? Get out by changing your conversation. Get out by exposing yourself to more. Because what I've learned is that your exposure has a direct correlation to your expansion. The more you expose yourself to conversation, your language will change, your friendship groups will change, your interests, your hobbies will change, and that all takes you to that whole piece around fulfillment.
Awesome. Well, guys, there you have it. We have had the wonderful Claudine Reid MBE. I mean, what a fountain of wealth, or a well of wealth, of knowledge that is, she's just really poured on us today. I hope you've enjoyed the podcast. It's been your host, Mickey. Listen, let's meet up on the next show. Take care. God bless.
Yeah, introducing yourself to the child as well. I think that took time as well. And also look at background as well. Is her father around? What's the relationship with...
Part of the culture, but we ain't part of the culture. Still making it rain, but a little words fly in soaking. Them man there, some them man there. We say we don't know them. Always chatting about Lengo, roll with the stick and how to outgrow them. You see this life, only get one, don't get twice. Got a value with treating right. Find purpose, meaning fight.